Have you ever worn a tank top or flip-flops in the winter? Have you ever thrown perfectly fine milk out because the sell-by date is in the past? Have you ever dumped a healthy plant because it's no longer in season? These are all examples of how our society is overly focused on what's new and what's in season. In today's podcast, I take that mistaken belief system that new is better and look at it through the prism of ageism in the workplace. I want to explore its prevalence, manifestations, and the impact on individuals. Additionally, I want to take a look at how ageism intersects with the concept of disenfranchised grief, really shedding light on the emotional toll it can take on older workers. Hey everyone, I'm Laverne McKinnon, and welcome to the Moonshot Mentor blogcast, where I provide tools and insights to support your career growth, including grief work. Unprocessed grief leads to a loss of resiliency, and resiliency is a critical element to long-term career success. Long-term career success leads to financial stability and fulfillment. So that's why I'm both a coach and a certified grief recovery specialist. Let's dive into today's topic of ageism and grief in the workplace. But first, a couple of questions. Is it okay to wear summer clothes in the winter? Is it okay to drink milk past the sell-by date? Is it okay for older workers to be pushed out once they reach a certain age? I started asking myself that last question when I noticed that I still have a healthy poinsettia plant in my office, and yet it's the end of March. Isn't it time to get rid of it since I'm no longer in the winter holiday season? I mean, after all, it's time to bring in some spring flowers, right? Well, no, it's wrong. The plant is healthy. In fact, it's sort of thriving, and it brightens up the space and it cleans up the air. It also symbolically represents good cheer and success. I've also heard that poinsettia sap can relieve pain, although I really need to do a lot more research on how to make that happen. All this to say, I'm not getting rid of my plant, even though it's out of season, which is why I strongly challenge anyone who says it's time for someone to move on based solely on their age. Is it okay to wear summer clothes in winter? Go crazy. It's also okay to drink milk past the sell-by date. Just give it a sniff first. It is not okay for older workers to be pushed out for any reason. That's ageism. Now, ageism is a form of discrimination or prejudice against individuals based on their age. So while ageism can affect individuals of all ages, it often targets older adults, perpetuating harmful misconceptions about their capabilities and their contributions. Despite strides towards inclusivity, ageism remains a prevalent issue in many workplaces, especially in the entertainment industry. I've heard from so many people how there's a lack of opportunity for older artists, older craftspeople, and older executives. Moreover, the experience of ageism often intertwines with feelings of grief, as older workers grapple with a sense of loss due to being marginalized or undervalued in their professional environments. Sadly, ageism in the workplace is alarmingly prevalent, with numerous studies shedding light on its pervasive nature and detrimental impact. According to research cited by Medical News Today, ageism affects a significant portion of older workers, with approximately 64% reporting experiences of age discrimination. A study conducted by the AARP found that nearly 2 in 3 workers aged 45 and older have witnessed or experienced age discrimination in the workplace. These statistics underscore the widespread nature of ageism and its profound implications for older adults seeking to remain active and engaged in the workforce. In addition to facing barriers during the hiring process, older workers often encounter challenges related to career advancement and retention. Data from Indeed's research on ageism in the workplace reveals that older employees are frequently overlooked for promotions in favor of younger colleagues, contributing to feelings of marginalization and frustration. Systematic ageism can perpetuate inequities within organizations, limiting opportunities for older workers to contribute their skills and expertise fully. Signs of ageism in the workplace might include being passed over for a promotion, receiving disparaging remarks about one's age or abilities, or being excluded from decision-making processes. Additionally, ageism can manifest in more covert ways, such as through microaggressions or systemic biases embedded within the organizational structures. It's so important to know that ageism manifests in various forms, each with its own unique implication. There are 3 primary types of ageism. The first is explicit. This type of ageism involves overt acts of discrimination or prejudice based on age. So, for example, that might include refusing to hire an older worker or making derogatory comments about their age or abilities. The second is implicit ageism, and it's a much more subtle way of showing ageism, and it can involve unconscious biases or stereotypes about older adults. It can also influence decision-making processes, leading to disparities in opportunities or treatments based on age. And then the third form is systemic ageism, and that refers to age-related biases that are actually ingrained within societal structures or institutional practices. This form of ageism can perpetuate inequities and limit the opportunities available to older workers. The experience of ageism in the workplace often intersects with the concept of disenfranchised grief, really amplifying its impact on older workers. So disenfranchised grief, it refers to feelings of loss that are not openly acknowledged or validated by society. For older adults facing ageism, that sense of loss can stem from being pushed out of their roles, disregarded, disrespected by colleagues, or relegated to less challenging responsibilities. Research from the National Center of Biotechnology Information highlights that there's an emotional toll of ageism in the workplace, noting that older adults may experience a range of negative emotions, including sadness, anger, and frustration. These feelings of grief and loss can be compounded by the lack of recognition or support from peers and employers. So it's really exasperating a psychological impact of ageism when their experience of it is not being acknowledged. So what to do when you're facing ageism in the workplace? Unfortunately, there isn't an easy answer, but there are proactive steps that you can take to assert your rights and address discriminatory behaviors. Here are 6 ideas. The first is to educate yourself. Familiarizing yourself with age discrimination laws and company policies related to equal opportunities is really going to help you. Understanding your rights and your protections empower you to advocate for treatment in the workplace. The second is that you need to document the incidents. Keeping detailed records of any instances of age discrimination or bias that you encounter is so critical. Note dates, times, and specific details of the incidents, as well as any witnesses who may have observed the behavior. This documentation is invaluable, and it's evidence if you decide that you want to proceed or pursue a formal complaint or legal action. Third is to seek support. This is really about reaching out to trusted colleagues or mentors or HR representatives for support and guidance. Discuss your concerns and explore potential solutions for addressing age-related bias in the workplace, because building a support network can provide reassurance and that much-needed validation during challenging times. In addition, consider getting support from a grief specialist who has an expertise with disenfranchised grief. It's really important to have your loss be acknowledged, validated, and mourned. Number 4, address concerns directly. If you feel comfortable, consider addressing ageist remarks or behaviors directly with the individuals involved. Communicate assertively and professionally, expressing how their actions or comments have affected you, and advocate for respectful treatment. This approach is not for everyone. I totally understand, and it may not be right for every single environment, so trust your intuition. Number 5, utilize internal resources. Take advantage of things like employee assistance or programs that focus on diversity and inclusion initiatives. To seek assistance and support is an important step as well. These resources could offer you counseling services, conflict resolution assistance, or educational workshops on combating bias in the workplace. And then 6, consider external support. If internal avenues for addressing ageism are just not working, if they're ineffective or unavailable, it may be time to explore external resources such as legal counsel or advocacy organizations that specialize in age discrimination. These entities can provide guidance on your rights and options for recourse under the applicable laws. By taking proactive measures and advocating for yourself in the face of ageism, you can assert your value and contribute to fostering a more inclusive and respectful work environment. Bottom line, the attitude and acceptance that it's okay to dismiss, dump, neglect, or reject objects, plants, or people based on a mistaken belief that they're no longer good or in season is ridiculous. Our society's collective obsession with youth and what's new causes great harm to humanity, the environment, and the community. Through educating ourselves, seeking support and taking proactive steps to address age-related bias, we can foster a more inclusive and respectful environment. I really do believe that together we can create a more equitable and inclusive workplace for everyone, regardless of age. It's going to take compassion and courage and a lot of curiosity. Okay, that's it for today. A bit of a heavier topic. I'd love for you to head over to Moonshot Mentor on Substack for journal questions around this topic. It's a big one, and it's a delicate one as well. And so to that end, I really want to encourage you to share your experiences with ageism. So drop me a comment. I think this is such an important topic, and I think creating a dialogue around it is going to be really, really helpful for people. And then you can always visit me at moonshotmentor.com, where you can find links to all of my social and how to work with me. And of course, a very big thank you to Lynn Chen for the video and audio editing. You can find her on social at Ms. Lynn Chen. And if you enjoy what you hear, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe or share, because it's going to help me achieve my moonshot of 5,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next week.